February 21st, 1972, Beijing, China. Richard Nixon stands alone at the top of the aircraft stairs, feeling the cold bite through his coat as he looks out over the tarmac. The cameras are waiting, the world is watching, and yet his thoughts are somewhere else. This is the man who built his career warning America about communism. The man who rose on promises to confront it, now stepping into the capital of the People's Republic of China, an enemy that for 22 years the United States pretended did not exist. Nixon pauses before descending. He knows this moment will define him, not because it is safe, but because it is dangerous. At home, the Vietnam War is tearing the country apart. Protests fill streets, trust in government is crumbling. Abroad, the Cold War has hardened into a frozen stalemate. Two nuclear superpowers stare at each other across continents, and proxy wars burn from Southeast Asia to the Middle East. Nixon understands something few are willing to say out loud. The world has changed and American strategy has not kept up. For decades, China and the United States have treated each other as ghosts. After Mao Zedong's victory in 1949, Washington refused recognition and Beijing returned the favor with hostility. The Korean War hardened hatred into blood. Millions died, and the divide became personal. Nixon himself had called Chinese communists ruthless and untrustworthy. Those words follow him now as he steps onto Chinese soil. But beneath ideology lies strategy. By the late 1960s, the communist world is fractured. China and the Soviet Union no longer march in step. Border clashes erupt between former allies, and Nixon sees an opening. If America can reach Beijing, it can change the balance of power, pressure Moscow, and maybe even shorten the war in Vietnam. This is not about friendship, it is about survival. Inside the Great Hall of the People, Nixon meets Zhou Enlai, the same man he once refused to shake hands with years earlier. Now their hands clasp firmly, both understand the risk. One wrong move could shatter the illusion and ignite outrage on both sides. The conversation is careful, measured, and historic. They speak of Taiwan, of war, of coexistence, of a world that cannot afford endless hostility. When Nixon finally meets Mao Zedong, the moment is brief, but symbolic. Mao is ill, his voice weak, but his presence immense. Two revolution-shaped men face each other not as ideologues, but as realists. Nixon knows he is not here to change China. He is here to change the geometry of global power. Back in the United States, critics accuse him of betrayal, others call it brilliance. But Nixon does not seek applause, he seeks leverage. Within months, the Soviet Union moves toward détente. Arms talks begin, and the Cold War shifts course not toward peace, but toward balance. As Nixon leaves China, he looks out the window of Air Force One, watching the land disappear beneath clouds. He knows he has shaken hands with history, not because he trusted an old enemy, but because he understood that refusing to talk was the greater risk. Sometimes power is not shown by confrontation. Sometimes it is revealed by the courage to walk into the room everyone else is afraid to enter.